we have minutes to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Any additions, deletions, corrections, comments? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Thank you. Public input. Anyone in the public like to speak? Okay, we have one action item today, the resolution R 2018-11-09. Do you want to explain that, or do you want me to?
I brought some photos too to help.
Okay, great.
Ooh, photos.
Yes.
In the meantime, while she's pulling that up, I'm Rachel Radwick. I'm with the Tampa Downtown Partnership. This past weekend, we just launched Winter Village for the 2018 season. Last year, we came before you for the first time asking your support financially and to adjust the service of the streetcar line to accommodate a new experience, which was the Winter Village Express. As you can take a look here. Do they see these, Lena? Do you guys see these pictures? Not yet. Okay, not yet. Okay. Which was a dedicated branded streetcar that ran on an express route from Whiting Station to Centro Ybor. While on board, there are, oh, there I am passing out milk and cookies, trivia, sing-alongs, caroling, jokes, a festive, fun environment. The streetcar is wrapped with a branded Winter Village Express interior cards that demonstrate what the Winter Village experience is, and then regular holiday decor inside as well. We're coming back to you guys again, and I would like to first thank you guys for your flexibility with us, as some of our internal communications has led me to be here a little bit late to ask for your permission on this. But we came back to ask for the same support as we had received last year, which was a total of $1,875 contribution going towards the actual chartering of the streetcar and $1,600 towards the wrap. These are just some of the kids from last year, and just an update, we did run this past Sunday, thanks to you guys for making that special arrangement for us. We went ahead and ran, and just to let you guys know, it was, last year we probably had 2 or 3 streetcars that were completely sold out. This past weekend, every single streetcar that came in was sold out.
Wow.
We had 142 riders, and we had a little mishap with the streetcar, so we didn't get to run the last 2 round trips. And so we still had record numbers. So
Rachel, what was it? What was the mishap? It wasn't just derailment, because I didn't hear about it.
We lost power and couldn't move in one direction on the rail car.
Has that been fixed?
It's been fixed. Yeah, Brian and I spoke about it today, actually. It's been fixed. Everybody was fine on board. So everything went smoothly with the exception of that. But record-breaking numbers, we were really excited to see that. We are going to make a couple of adjustments moving into the future if this is all approved, stationing some volunteers at the stops to help provide better customer service and kind of crowd control, something that we weren't expecting to meet this time through. Then
I have a couple questions.
Of course.
The express means we're not stopping at the normal stops for this particular car.
Mm-hmm.
And how many cars are dedicated to this purpose?
Just one. And we have this one dedicated car, which you can see pictured here with the wrap on the front there, that runs on Sundays only, and then following the 23rd would be placed into regular rotation like last year as an advertisement piece for Winter Village. And with the new service, we were still running 3 cars on Sundays, so adding this 4th car is the same adjustment to the service as we had last year.
So if you recall, last year we contributed our share of the income from the streetcar wrap, and we waived the charter fee, and they're simply asking that they be able to do that again this year.
And that was a partial charter fee waiver.
Okay. Yeah, half. I think half of it maybe.
This year we're running 6 weekends instead of the 5, so our total cost for this year is $67.50, and we're just seeking $18.75, the same as last year, for a contribution to it.
I'll move approval of the item and the ratification of last weekend's service.
You.
I'll second that.
Thank you. And Abby could not be here today, but said she strongly supports this initiative, and please vote for it. So
she had joined us last weekend.
Yeah.
So
good.
Yeah.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, guys. Happy Thanksgiving.
Rachel, is this more fun than anything you do?
We hired actors this year to run it, so it wasn't the Sean and Rachel show, so it's a little bit more enjoyable this year than last year.
Well, Sean looks so good as an elf. I don't know why you stopped doing that.
Yeah, it wasn't his personal preference. Thank you, everybody. Have a nice night.
Thanks,
Rachel.
Hopefully in a couple future years we will be able to bring the streetcar all the way up close to Curtis Sixon Park. so
I sure
we
hope
won't
so.
have that big gap, you
Maybe
know.
maybe we'll go past Curtis Dixon Park and do something else.
Well,
Who
we
knows?
might do that too, but
That's
I was
right.
just saying.
That's right. Exciting. Okay, streetcar system performance report, Mr. Allen.
Good afternoon. For the month of October, our first month of the new service, we delivered 99.59% of the service with 13.5 missed trips. Most of those trips were due because of the ribbon cutting, because we cut back that fourth car, so not that big of a deal. Our on-time performance for the month was 99.93.
That's great.
We had one accident at Beneficial Drive and Channel Side. A car turned in front of us, made a right turn in front of us. Nobody was injured and only minor damage to the vehicle. It was somebody who was out of town and had very little knowledge of Tampa.
Sure.
And special service, 18.3 hours for the Amalie events. A good bit of that was for the Joyce Meyer Ministries. And probably what's of most interest to you is our ridership for October. Last October, for 2017, our ridership for October was 26,861. This year, as recorded on our fare box, our ridership was 53,185.
Wow.
Wow.
So we were just shy of doubling it.
Wow.
I hope it keeps up like that.
You better.
So
That's right.
I'm curious, is morning service starting to catch on?
Morning service started to catch on about the third day.
Really? So now people know they can depend on it, they can get on it at 7 in the morning in Ybor City?
Got some
and
numbers to show you.
That's
Okay,
great.
good. I was just
Yeah.
going to suggest, where's the numbers at on that?
Yeah, the Tuesday and Wednesday, our AM ridership was like 6 and 7, but then after that, it started to jump and it was in the triple digits
That's
after that.
great. That's great news.
So we've got a lot of regulars now.
Good.
Are you experiencing any operational difficulties? Because we could be looking at double the number of passengers.
Not really so far. We're handling the fact that our periodic maintenance cycles are now double almost because of the amount we're running. We are changing cars out if needed, doing swaps, but so far, everything is holding up well.
So you're jumping, but you're staying ahead of it.
Right. So, and as far as infrastructure goes, the Bernie, the outside of it's been painted. Our paint and body guy's working on the interior right now. Once he's done, the roof will go on and the car will be basically finished at that point. And the only infrastructure that I have to report on the line that I'm very happy about is that all the flashing yellow lights that you probably see that are triggered by Opticom when the streetcar goes by, the city's now changed those all to flashing red lights. And it's making a pretty big difference, especially on 8th Avenue here in Ybor.
That's great.
So,
How does it make a difference?
well, it's no longer a caution, it's now a
So
stop.
people are paying attention and stopping then?
Right,
Okay.
right. And they're on order, but they haven't gotten them yet. But the no turn on red ones that flash downtown, you see them along Channel Side, those have yellow lights on the top. They're getting changed for bigger signs with red also. So the city's really working with us on this.
Good, very good.
So, any questions?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Legal and legislative report, Mr.
Well,
Matthews?
Does Jeff have info on the morning ridership?
Oh, I'm sorry, you want to go ahead and do that?
Sure, we'll do that. This is going to be under my report, but I won't go ahead.
Oh,
with my
well,
report.
I don't want to, I just thought we were talking
We
about
are.
it.
So I don't have a copy of it in front of me. Lena will run the show.
That's nothing new.
I'm sorry?
Nothing. I said, that's nothing new.
These are, so we just wanted to give you some social media comments we've been receiving on the morning service where people love us, including Milton. Go ahead. All right, so 5,962 riders we have had since we started on October the 1st. That is ridership before 11 a.m. So obviously the benchmark before that was 0.
Oh, my God.
And so I can't read
So that's
this.
an average of 138 a day before 11 a.m. And that is obviously nothing that we've ever had before because we didn't have service, but it exceeded my expectations of what we'd be seeing in the morning.
Absolutely.
As you can see with the rest of the week, Saturdays is a slight difference because if you recall, Saturdays were free anyway prior to the service changing, but it did go up. Monday through Thursday, Fridays, we are seeing a huge increase in overall ridership. Same thing with Sundays. So it's been, in my opinion, in fixed route transit, you don't want to necessarily gauge the success of your system based on ridership alone. The streetcar, I'll base it on ridership.
Yeah.
It's been pretty darn good since we started the free service on October the 1st. So I will continue, this report that you see here, I will continue to update this on a monthly basis.
Great.
So we continue to monitor that morning traffic or ridership and keep you all apprised of what we see as it continues.
So say again, what is the number of riders before 11 a.m. on a
Average
day?
138 a day.
Average over the week? And are some days better than others? I mean, significantly?
I don't have it broken out into those exact work days yet, but that is typically the Monday through Friday ridership. So I'll have the report will be expanded. We're trying to get a real fix on, we're still using our GFIs instead of our APCs, our passenger counters, because of some technical issues that we're working through. But I will have a much more stratified look at what those are, which days we're seeing the most ridership, the least ridership in the mornings. But I honestly, I would have been happy with 2,000, and this is
It's huge.
incredible.
And you're sharing this with DOTIO?
We will be.
You will be. And with the city council?
As a matter of fact, next Wednesday, I will be meeting with the acting director of the FTA in DC, and I am giving a report on
all of this?
On this, yes.
Good. Beautiful.
And the referendum results and a lot of things.
We're going to be chatting about many things.
I bet you are.
Yes.
I bet you are. Any questions? Any other questions?
No, that's great news.
Do you want to go ahead and finish your report, and then we'll go back to Mr. Matthews?
Oh, sure. That was my report.
That was your report?
Okay, good.
That
It's
was
a good
your-
report.
Was that your entire report?
Thank you.
It was, although there was a question
Thank you.
posed this last week after the referendum results of what the results of the referendum meant for the streetcar. I will state that I have not had the HART board has not met since the referendum passed. On December the 3rd, I'm going to present a proposal for HART service, fixed route expansion of service plans for the next 6 months. As far as plans of the use of those funds for the streetcar itself, you know, we chatted a little bit before the meeting that the fixed guideway reserve funds could be used for the expansion. City of Tampa could also use their transportation dollars for expansion. Those topics have not even been discussed. We haven't even broached the projected projects to use that funding for yet. But I did want to answer the fact, could that money be used for that extension? And the answer is yes, it could be. The fixed guideway component, if there was a decision to be made by the HART board to be able to allocate those funds to the expansion.
And the city could also contribute
They
to
absolutely could.
using
They
the
could
sales
too,
tax
yes.
money.
And what's great about it is that we can decide based on our needs from the city side and the way that HART will connect into other avenues that don't just serve the city to figure out what the best route is, literally, in terms of where that money's going to go. Whether we share the cost to extend the streetcar or to expand it to other parts of the city after we go to Tampa Heights, let's say, because that's the one we're studying, and I think the study has been completed. We just have to make a decision to go forward with it. I mean, after all that happens, then we can really make a decision, what's the next steps? Once HART decides what's going to happen, we're going to have a new HART board, obviously. We're going to have a new mayor, a new city council. So I think it's going to make it, it's going to be a lot of exciting times.
And some money.
You know, and well, having the money is the most exciting part of it, you know.
Totally,
So,
totally.
Yeah,
What-
you know, when you open a gift at Christmas time and there's nothing inside it, that's what we've been getting. You know, now we actually open the gift and there's cash in there.
Right.
That's good. That's
3
good.
pieces of coal is what we're used to.
That's what we're used to.
What is the next step procedurally regarding the streetcar extension study?
I think it's just to make the decision as to what route we want to take, because we
Correct.
did the initial, correct me if I'm wrong, we did the initial study that gave us, I believe it was 4 different routes, if I'm not mistaken. And so we have to make a decision as to which of the 4 routes are the most viable. Most of the time it was because of whatever dollars we were going to have in order to operate and where we were going to get the capital dollars. Now having the matching funds for some of the capital, we can go for some small starts dollars. I actually was at a meeting yesterday with Congresswoman Castor, talking specifically about that. How are we going to look at it and how we're going to actually approach it. We still don't know who is going to be on the House Transportation Committee. We know that Kathy is on the Energy and Commerce Committee, which doesn't have direct relation to us, but it has a lot of power. It's one of the more powerful committees in Congress. So we have to figure out who's going to be on appropriations and who's going to be on transportation first. I know for sure that there are 3 Floridians on the Transportation Committee. One is Frederica Wilson, the other is Lois Frankel, which is really good news because she used to be the mayor of West Palm Beach and understands about transit within cities. And Frederica is, of course, from Miami. And then we have Daniel Webster, who's from Central Florida. So hopefully we can actually get with those folks and figure out what the next steps are going to be. So.
And coincidentally, and it is a coincidence, it was not planned this way, the final presentation will be provided to the HART board on the streetcar extension study at the December 3rd meeting.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be the only presentation that we have at that meeting, and the rest of the meeting will be dedicated to discussions on the use of the sales tax.
Okay.
And that presentation is an update from the consultants?
Yes.
Yeah.
Scott, yes. HDR will be, it'll be the same. Our board, the HART board has not had an opportunity to see it yet.
Yeah.
And they're getting ready to go to public input, and we do not want to hold that schedule up. So we want to make sure that our board is presented. We won't delay the city and their plans of getting it out to public outreach. So December the 3rd, our board will see it for the first time.
Yeah.
Now, procedurally, I know this board doesn't make a decision yes or no on that project, but will we be asked to make a recommendation to the HART board? Is that a function of the streetcar board?
We could make it a function.
Yes. I don't know if you'll necessarily be asked to do one, but you
We're rarely asked.
You can absolutely make a recommendation on the route, and however you feel you would like to see the other governing bodies proceed with the decision, and from the spending to the route, you are absolutely inclined to do that.
Yeah, well, I was just going to suggest, and perhaps I could bring that up at the HART board,
Good plan.
that we solicit those. I mean, we have some expertise on this board that, you know, the HART board could get the benefit of. So I think it makes sense to sort of put that in the cycle of decisions that we implement as we go forward.
I personally think a recommendation from the streetcar board on the streetcar extension is totally appropriate.
It's not unreasonable.
Yeah.
Good. Is that your report now?
It is, yes, sir.
Great.
Thanks.
Mr.
One of the
Matthews?
best reports you've ever given, I gotta tell you. It's a really good report.
Mr. Matthews?
Good afternoon. I only have one item, and it's our Vector Media contract. It's set to expire January 1st, 2019. So we just need to determine whether or not we want to extend it for another year or to enter into some other engagement. I reached out to HART to try to discuss some options, but have been unable to link up, and I intend on doing that soon. Intend on drilling down on some options to determine what we want to do, and we can kind of talk about it offline and figure out our course of action.
So when does it actually expire?
January 1st, 2019, so the beginning of the year.
So we have one more shot.
We do.
Okay.
Staff will be coming back with a recommendation.
Okay, so
This-
you'll look at that and
That's
come
Lori
back.
Gage's new company, is that? And I see Lori, you somehow didn't land on the agenda, but do you have anything to tell us?
Oh, she's there?
How did I miss her?
Just in the back.
Oh, damn it. Sorry about that.
Good afternoon. I just basically wanted to fill everyone in of the 8 active cars that we have running. We have 4 of them under contract all the way through 2019. So in addition to our usual Miller and Coors cars, we've added Cigar City and we've added Tampa General Hospital, which I think is nice to get that variety. We have 2 new short-term campaigns on the books for next year. When we have the Women's Final Four, and then we've done 2 cars recently for HART, their donated space. We did the City in Pink for October, and now we have the Winter Express car running.
That's great.
That's all I have.
So, because we're running more hours, does that increase the value of these contracts?
Definitely, yeah, and we will look at the rates, because we did talk about that last time I was at a meeting. But yeah, we push that every time. There's a lot more riders, so then they get more exposure.
Sure. Okay, good. Keep us posted on that, please.
Definitely.
Okay, thank you so much. Any questions, Lori? Thank you.
All right, thank you. Happy Thanksgiving.
You too.
Okay, chair's report. I don't really have one. I just can't, you know, when I woke up and saw that damn thing had passed, I couldn't believe it. It was like manna from heaven. I mean, who would have guessed this was going to happen? And the school board too. It was just astounding. So I'm really happy, looking forward to how this is all going to unfold. It's a new day in Tampa Bay.
He's so dang giddy, he doesn't even know what to say. It's hilarious. You know, here's a guy that's been professional all these years. He's been working on these things, and your head is so banged up from hitting your head against the wall.
I know.
And now all of a sudden, you don't even know what to do.
I don't. No, I don't. It's just, I'm just astounded.
Yeah.
I am astounded and real happy about it. Okay, so we've had all our reports. Any, Dave?
Yeah, I just had a question. I realize this is a part of the scope of the current extension study, but with it looking more and more promising that Brightline will be coming somewhere in the vicinity of downtown, do we need to be looking at an additional study? I don't want to slow down the one that just finished, but do we want to look at an additional study that once we understand more about what Brightline is doing, that so we could tie into that if possible?
So, not necessarily answering the question about a future study, but I've had a few conversations with Brightline over the last month, and we made the commitment that once there is a decision on their landing here in Tampa, we will get back with them and we will start looking at what options there are for connectivity. And that was prior to the referendum. So we have some options of connecting different types of modes of transportation to wherever they end up. So as it affects the streetcar, obviously it will very much depend on where their final landing is here. If it's close to this building, possibly, there are some options for circulators. So I would, my recommendation is once that decision is made, we're going to sit down with them as HART, talk about what their needs are as far as connectivity is concerned, and then if there is some proximity to a possible future location of an extension to the extension, then my recommendation would be to come back here and we have that discussion. And we've batted around, maybe we want an extension study of the extension study, but not to slow down the current extension. We're going to get very excited very quickly about studies. I can see that.
Well, I don't think it would hurt to ask our consultant for an opinion about whether the Brightline connection would cause them to come up with a different set of recommendations. I think it's worth having that conversation.
And, you know, and David, I will tell you, you know, as a land use lawyer, the kind of experience you have, you know, it's all about amassing the land that you need in order to get the development done, because it's all about the development. It has nothing to do with trains. So if the development is in conjunction with what the Rays want to do in Ybor City, or if it's somewhere further west of that location, or if they want to go to Union Station and make that part of their process, I don't know. They need about, I think it's between 7 and 10 acres, somewhere in that neighborhood, and that's what they need in order to make their dollar. in order to make it
Mhm.
a successful business model for them. I'm not sure where that's going to be. And I think that it's a little soon because the RFP just got released. So it's going to be some time before they figure out where they're going to be. That's the only thing we need to wait on. I don't think that, and I think that I'm in agreement with Jeff in terms of we need to go forward on some of the stuff we're doing. I think that the streetcar is going to play a very important role in whatever they want to do.
Yeah, it is. And,
Yeah.
well, you know what else? I mean, we've already talked about the Rays. If the Rays land where they want to be, then we've got to have another discussion about a loop, and which actually could be affordable.
Yeah.
A loop turns this system into something really even more different than it is now.
Yeah. Changes the whole nature of it.
Right, and if Brightline lands anywhere near the Rays,
Yeah.
which I bet it would like to, you've got a real exciting and interesting thing to figure out.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, yes, sir. Good. Okay. Any other comments or questions? Compliance reports. Anybody interested in hearing the marketing report or the financial statements? They're here. I know Vanessa and her staff have been doing a lot of wonderful things and getting us a lot of publicity and connecting us with a lot of people. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate the HART staff's work. I know this hasn't been real easy ramping up for better service, but you've done it, and there are brighter days ahead for the bus system as well. So happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving to you.
There being no further business, this meeting is adjourned. Clay, we've got